First off, I just want to say I've been in the room freaking out, literally, because I've been so humbled by the presentations tonight. And how cool is it that ACPA is doing something so innovative in terms of the program? So, congratulations to the program team. I'm here to talk about developing strong teams. In 2012, I had the opportunity to take an online course through Clifton Strenghts School. It was 5 courses over 6 months with groups from folks from across the country and across the world. Since that time, I've had the opportunity to facilitate strengths training for both staff and students. Now, I should say that I'll talk about strengths and talents interchangeably, but they're not. One must develop your talents in order for them to truly be strengths. Now, here's a little formula. Strengths, which is really how you become kind of perfect in terms of performance as a result of your talents or the way you think or feel, behave, times your investment, the amount of time that you spend working on that talent. Now, we're not going to talk about the 34 strengths, but Strength Finder is based on 40 years of research. In fact, it's so unique that for you to find someone with the same 5 strengths, it's 1 in 278,000 chance of doing that. Now, to find a person with the same 5 strengths in the same order, 1 in 33.3 million. Now, after taking the assessment, you're going to get a report. That's going to give you some of these numbers that I just talked about, because now I'm having my oh shit moment and I'm jumping ahead because I'm trying not to look at the cards. So I'm well ahead. I've got plenty of time. I'll sit back. Okay. Now, the typical university philosophy is to fix what's wrong. Basically, identify those areas for improvement with staff and then develop an improvement plan. Rather than focusing on weaknesses, positive psychologists will say that we need to focus on our talents and developing them into true strengths. That's the essence that I'm talking about. Gallup did a survey in 2011. What they found is 81% of all employees are either not engaged or actively disengaged. However, the data also showed that if you focused on strengths, you had a much higher level of engagement, while those that were ignored completely had almost no engagement. Now, why is this important? Engaged employees are more loyal. They're more productive, so they're going to stay with you longer. And if we know that we need to engage our staffs, then strength-based leadership is an approach to do that. So I'm going to propose 8 steps. First is really knowing your team. You need to know the talents that you have on your team. Now, for some, Strength Finder is seen as pop psychology, but it's really only pop psychology if you don't do anything with it. So the crux of what I'm going to propose is that you have to do something more than just take the survey. Next, by understanding your talents and the 4 different domains, you need to look at how your work groups are set up. Are the work groups balanced? Do they have the type of representation that creates a good positive work group? And are you assessing the group's needs along the way? Now, by understanding our team talents, we can understand why teams fail or succeed. We can understand where they'll struggle and where they will thrive. We can also understand teams can be supported by their supervisor and how teams can actually support their supervisor. So it's a win-win. Now, theme weaving is a critical concept to understand fully strength-based leadership in an organization. For example, an achiever command is different than a person with an achiever harmony as their top 2 talents. Really, the difference is how they involve others. Now, as a supervisor who practices strength-based leadership, you must ask yourself, what each person's top 5 talents will bring to the organization? What does this person need from others? What will they need from their supervisor? Organizations that spend time considering each person's unique talent matrix are the ones that succeed. Now, communication is often one of the biggest gaps in organizations. Understanding employees' talents can offer insight as to how to best communicate with a team. A relationship builder may be best suited by in-person contact, where an executor might be best suited by electronic communication. Now, groups should look at how their talents will influence the ability to set direction and make decisions. How might a supervisor provide direction to the team members in terms of development if there's incongruence between the way the group functions and the way you would predict? Organizational conflict is a reality. Often conflicts occur because of differences, whether it's differences in style, differences in talents, differences in strengths. Only through understanding those differences can organizations overcome the challenges and actually build stronger teams. Now, one of the key ways to foster engagement through recognition and celebration is to do that. Now, when staff feel like they matter, they tend to put more into their work. Much like the thesis of the 5 love languages, people respond to recognition and celebration. So, we know in order to develop strong teams, we need to understand who we have on our team. Next, we need to understand how we can develop those talents into strengths and how those will contribute to the overall team. Finally, we have to find ways to recognize them in really personalized ways. Now, as you work with your team, take the time in your one-on-one to provide strength mentoring. Explore each team member's talents. Work to develop with those talents a game plan, and then identify their success as to how those talents played a role. Consider reframing your organization as a way to take it from good to great. Thank you.